So here's the thing, and P.O. Joseph, I think everybody's saying that the move will be done is a little premature. Like there's some
That
people
is.
that are saying Ty Smith's going to be in the lineup. Don't you worry about that. Another move is coming. What is the rush? Like I get Ty Smith outperformed P.O. Joseph in camp. He did, and he deserves
Mhm.
to be on that lineup. But this is a business as much as it is a sport. Like this isn't backyard hockey in your backyard rink, outdoor rink. You have to actually figure in the finances, especially when you're the Pittsburgh Penguins and you have so many players that are not on league minimum contracts. Like there's only a handful of guys, probably less than a half dozen, that they're ever going to have in their lineup that are on league minimum contracts or under $1 million contracts throughout this entire season. So I don't know the rush. Let P.O. Joseph get a couple games under his belt, see what you have at the NHL level, see how he responds to the challenge of playing at the NHL level on a line with Jan Ruda. Like, let that play out. And I understand that Ty Smith, and you talked to him on Friday after the game, Ty Smith believes that he did enough to make the roster. And honestly, with his performance, he probably did.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's a business, and he might have to stay in Wilkes-Barre for a week or two, play a couple of games down there once their season starts. And that's not an awful thing for a 22-year-old that was shuttled into the league very quickly by the New Jersey Devils. And
Mhm.
it doesn't hurt to play a couple of AHL games to keep your legs underneath you. Because I think what people need to understand is it seems like Ty Smith is part of the future plans for the Pittsburgh Penguins as of this moment. They brought him in via trade. Clearly, they liked him. They thought it was a better position to have with a young defenseman on a cheap contract. They're going to have to re-sign him after the season if they want him. But after camp, it seems like they're very invested in Ty Smith. So, what is the rush of bringing him up right away? It's not the NFL season with Kenny Pickett, where, hey, you need to get him reps because there's only 17 games of game action. You have 82 games spanned over 5 or 6 months. You can let him marinate in the AHL for 2 or 3 weeks to start the season while you figure this stuff out with P.O. Joseph for Chad Ruhwedel.
Because again, what's the alternative here? You healthy scratch him. That sounds like a bad idea as well because that's achieving nothing. That
Well, no,
is
I mean, I feel like if Smith was up, he'd be playing, but you'd be healthy
exactly.
scratching Joseph, and again, does
You don't
nothing.
want that either. You want both of those guys on the ice one way or the other. Through hell or high water, you want them playing, whether it is in the NHL or the AHL. You don't want them sitting in the press box, eating the peanuts, and that's what Chad Ruhwedel is for. Even Mike Sullivan said Chad Ruhwedel has this uncanny ability to sit out for long periods of time and then come back into the lineup and be gangbusters.
Mhm,
He's the only player that I can think of on our lineup, and maybe Mark Friedman too, who you're okay with sitting down
mhm.
because you know nothing's really going to happen to their progression as a player. That Mark Friedman is 26. He's about where he's going to be for his career. He's about to hit his
Yeah,
prime. It's a little interesting. Chad Ruhwedel, I believe he's 31, 32. He's set. If he's still able to maintain that sitting out for a long period of time and then getting pushed back into the roster and having that same level of ability, perfect. We've done it. We have him for 2 more years. So,
mhm.
yeah, those are the only two players that I can think of that you would want to do that to. So, you want, no matter who it is, Joseph or you want both Joseph and Smith playing.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter where it is. You want them on the ice, getting reps. If you need to make the switch, you make the switch, pull the trigger. And this is just the way things had to fly out for now.
Mhm. So you talked to him on Friday with Ty Smith. He believes that he should have made the roster. Would you say that?
He gave the very hockey answer of
Well, yeah.
it's not up to me, it's up to the front office and the coaching staff.
Mhm.
And I would say pretty much if you read between the lines, yeah, he thinks he uh, made the roster because um, he outperformed P.O. Joseph at every turn. It seemed a lot of people on Twitter had noticed that he was just a different player in this organization than he was in New Jersey.
Mhm.
This system helps him out a lot more. His new line mate helps him out a lot more. He said Jan Ruda is such a good defenseman that Ty Smith is able to do his offensive defensive things,
Mhm.
and that really resonates with the play that Ty Smith can put on. Ty Smith was able to pick up a very smart assist on a fan, Jan Ruda shot, no less,
Mhm.
and a goal that at first glance I thought it kind of just found its way to the nets, but
Yeah.
um, still he was able to walk out of that final preseason game with a goal and an assist. So it's very he did all the right things. Whereas P.O. Joseph was there. He looked big and he looked strong. And Mike Sullivan said P.O. Joseph had his best game of the preseason. And he's been improving all camp. I'd let him keep improving in the NHL. So, yes, I think Smith does deserve the spot. But with the situation that we're in and the holding on to the hand for too long from Hextall, it's just the only outcome that we could get to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're running a little over here, but there's a lot to talk about as the NHL season gets kicked off this week. And honestly, with Ty Smith, he probably understands it, and he probably sees it with the fact that literally up until the day that he was sent down, he was playing in the top 6. Like, he knows the Penguins, and I'm sure he was assured by many that the Penguins have big plans for him. And I've spoken this to so many people since he got sent down in the 12 hours since, that he's going to play 50-plus games this year for the Pittsburgh Penguins. You're going to see plenty of Ty Smith. This is just a reaction to what happened over the summer and where the Penguins are at financially and with their roster. So they're going to eventually get it figured out. They have to. They have no other option but to do that. And you're going to see a guy like Ty Smith. But at the same time, let's not rush to get P.O. Joseph out of here if he is indeed on the trade block, because I do want to see what you have, because it's a good problem to have if you have 2 good young defensemen. And maybe you can make something else happen. I mean, who knows how this roster could be configured if both of those guys are playing like NHL regulars